Our last keynote for the day, but a very special one, and we're so honored to have Mr. Omar Hayat with us. Mr. Omar Hayat is a distinguished master coach and trainer based in Dubai. With an impressive background in leadership, strategic consulting, and client relationship management, Omar has inspired financial professionals across Canada and beyond. Formerly a senior consultant at one of Canada's top financial services firms, he quickly rose to top advisor and went on to mentor and develop a team of 20 consultants. His passion for leadership and development has led him to work on enhancing customer service experiences and nationalization programs, earning him a feature on the cover of Investing Executive magazine. We're so honored to have Mr. Omar Hayat on stage. Please join him with a round of applause. And all students are requested to stay here. We also have a raffle draw after this, so we really would request you to all be seated. Listen to him very carefully because I'm sure he has something really amazing to say. Thank you so much, Mr.
All right, good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. A little deja vu moment for me. I was here about 3 weeks ago. One of the things we forgot to mention perhaps is my real claim to fame is I run the largest cricket league in the UAE. Anybody know about cricket? Anybody know about cricket a little bit? Just checking. Unfortunately, these days, maybe not famous Pakistan for cricket as much, but we'll get back to where we were. I just found out maybe we have a chance to win the match going on right now. I wanted to just first of all, before we begin, can I have a big thank you, a round of applause for the people who organized this as well, Mariam and her team. Can we have a round of applause? This is fantastic. What a great initiative. हमारे ज़माने में तो किसी ने ऐसे कभी हमें मौका नहीं दिया, इसीलिए हम कुछ पढ़ लिख जाते. So a quick little background, I grew up in Lahore and then I went to Canada for about 10 years and for the past 14 years I've been based in Dubai trying to kind of figure out myself what this path of leadership looks like. I do need your attention. वैसे मैंने उस दिन पढ़ा था कि the average attention span of a millennial. Millennial कौन होते हैं? Anybody know what a millennial is? What's a millennial? People born after 1980, yeah, so 1980 are millennials. People born after 2000, what are they called? Gen Z, exactly. So the average attention span of a millennial was 8 seconds. Gen Z ka pata nahi what the average attention span is, so probably less than that. So keeping you guys engaged and focused for a long time is going to be tough anyway. But a couple of things I want to mention to you. Let me ask you guys, shout it out to me if you can. What would you like to be? As I see, mashallah, most of you are already grown up. But what would you like to be when you really grow up? Shout it out. What would you like to be? A business person? Mashallah, very nice. You got to shout it out. I can't hear. Okay. All right. So based on what I heard, we've got different answers in terms of people wanting to be professionals or business people and so on. By the way, business people ke bare mein aapko main ek baat bata दूं. When they did not to scare you, when they did the autopsy, when someone dies, when they did the autopsy on the brains of 55-year-old business owners, their brains looked like the same as 85-year-old Alzheimer patients. So stress is something that business owners deal with. Don't want to discourage you from doing business. But I will tell you, in my opinion, what are the 3 key things that make the difference between average and awesome in whatever industry that you operate in. If you remember anything from this session, remember 3 things: skills, behaviors, and attitudes, okay? Skills, behaviors, and attitudes. Off the top of your mind, can you give me any example of a skill? What's a skill? Give me any example of a skill. Koi skill ki example denge, any skill? Driving, leadership, coaching, sales, all skill, driving, yeah? All skills. So a skill is something you can teach, you can upskill. A behavior is something you can influence. The best example I can give you is time management is a skill, not being on time is a behavior, and not caring to be on time is an attitude, right? Not to say anything to the people who just showed up, nothing against you. Can I ask you a question, Ji? We've got young people. In a recent study of 102,000 people who were surveyed and they were asked the question, what in their opinion made the difference between average and awesome? Those people who were average, cricketers, business people, employees, and those people who were brilliant, awesome. In your opinion, what do you think was the difference? What was the difference between average and awesome? What was the difference? That's it, you nailed it, right? The single biggest difference between average and awesome is attitude. Negativity and positivity is an attitude. By the way, do you know any negative people in your life? Do you know any negative people in your life? I only know negative people. Let me ask you, do you know anybody, wait. Do you know anybody who's, that your success makes them unhappy or sad? All right, okay. So negativity definitely spreads. Negativity is contagious, it's infectious, but so is positivity. So is positivity as well. And I wanted to make a couple of points to you very, very importantly about positive behavior, right? All our research and surveys show that the biggest impact on negativity or positivity is attitude or environment. So Warren Buffett says, you will become the average income, average IQ, average lifestyle of the closest 5 people you surround yourself with. Our topic today is about champions of tomorrow, right? Champions of tomorrow surround themselves with the right environment, the right culture, the right group. That's why, by the way, I find it funny when people say, all my friends are losers. Something to think about, right? Surround yourself with positive people, guess who you will become? Surround yourself with people who are going somewhere in life, guess where they will take you? About 20 years ago, I was sitting like yourself in some room and somebody was talking and somebody with a suit and a tie, and I was thinking, in Babu ko kya zarurat hai, mera time kyun zaya kar rahe? And he said one thing to me and I'll never forget, and I wanted, when Mariam, a big thank you to her for arranging this and giving us the opportunity to do this. When I got this opportunity, I thought I'll definitely come and say this to you as well. There's a coach out in the US. His claim to fame is he's never, in 5 seasons, he's never lost a single basketball game as a coach. I went to go hear him speak and he said something I'll never forget. He said, show me a young person, hardworking, with a prayer in his heart and a smile on his face, and I'll show you the next champion, right? So 3 things, huh? Hardworking, a prayer in his heart, and a smile on his or her face, and I'll show you the next champion. मैं ये नहीं चाहता कि आपके लिए this becomes a religious evangelical pitch, but I will tell you that prayer and religion has an amazing impact on how far you will go in life as well. So don't forget that secret sauce. That's our secret sauce, right? The religion aspect, the spiritual aspect, that's the secret sauce. Physical fitness, right? Physical fitness. That's also very, very important, right? The number that top nutritionists, top physios, top professionals will give you is about 150 minutes a week. So you need about 150 minutes a week, about 2.5 hours a week of cardiovascular activity to keep you physically fit. I'm not saying 6-pack, I'm saying physically fit. Secondly, sleep hygiene. Remember sleeping. Remember when we used to sleep? Remember? What's the last thing you look at before you go to bed? What's the last thing you look at before you go to bed? What's the first thing you look at when you wake up? Absolutely, right? So remember, we are the first generation in human history who has this much access to information, and instant information, most of which is negative. Have you heard of CNN? Which stands for constant negative news, by the way. So be careful of the exposure you have, and don't forget to sleep. The number is about 5.5 to 6 hours minimum. Sleeping is important. Physical fitness, spiritual guidance, sleep hygiene, and of course, surrounding yourself with positive people, some of the key ingredients to the difference between average and awesome. I want to just tell you one more thing, and then maybe if you have any questions, we'll take them. But I need your attention and focus, because if you remember nothing else I'm about to say, please remember this. The average employee engagement score in the Gulf countries, in the GCC, employee engagement. You know what employee engagement is? People fired up, motivated, ready to come to work, and so on, inspired, right? The average employee engagement score is 63%. It's the lowest it's ever been.
And in the recent survey, 25% of all people were at work looking for other work. I hope that our present company, our top champions that are here with us, I hope you don't find yourself stumbling into a profession, stumbling into a job, because that's just the only thing that happened to you, and then 5, 10, 20, 30 years later be sitting in a cubicle waiting for 5 p.m. You are far too talented, far too ambitious. Look at the opportunity Allah has given you. We're here in a beautiful, wonderful country with great opportunities. Do not lose this opportunity. I'm not saying that everybody will go on to be a CEO or a business manager, but we can all be leaders, right? We can all be leaders. You know what a leader does? You know what a leader does? A great leader gets you to do, it inspires you, right? And by the way, a great leader creates other leaders. So I would love for you, as you go back to your schools tomorrow and day after, I'd love for you to find other people in your group who are maybe not doing as well, who are maybe struggling with something. Maybe it's a negative attitude they're struggling with. Maybe they're struggling with their school. Find someone and lift that person up. When you lift them up, Allah lifts you up as well. Find other people in your circle and lift those people up. You will be fine. If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. So find those networks and relationships. I urge you to find those networks and communities where you can thrive. See, I was fortunate that cricket was something I always played in Pakistan. Then I went to Canada and my cricket froze to death. But in the past 14 years, I run the largest cricket league in the UAE. We've got 2,500 people who play every weekend. And the biggest impact of cricket has been the social network that we've built. I don't know if you know Azhar Ali. He's maybe a little bit older than your generation, but he's retired now. We had Azhar Ali here on this stage about 3 weeks ago, Mariam, when we did the opening ceremony. So, cricket is one way. Sports in general is one way to connect. For those of you who like public speaking, what a fantastic skill to learn, public speaking. I urge you to join Toastmasters or other such communities where you can become the best version of yourself. One of the things I want to talk about was, the universities. You guys are just getting ready. By the way, alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed me with 3 boys. I've got a 14-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old. So maybe a couple of years away from university themselves. But I want to tell you, when it comes to choosing the right university, before you go for the big names, which are important, before you go for budget, which is important, maybe your parents will care more about that, but just make sure that you're going somewhere which will give you great exposure. If you remember nothing, remember this: exposure in life, just being in new places, meeting new people, doing new things. That is more important than A square plus B square, right? That's maybe, no. I shouldn't have given you this advice. Imagine everybody fails this. No. I'm just saying, if you look at a cross-section of the most successful people in this life, I'm not talking about akhirah, that's another conversation. But in this life, when you look at the most successful people, you find one common virtue in them, that they put themselves outside their comfort zone. I hope you put yourself outside your comfort zone. If public speaking is something you're not comfortable with, do it. If sports is not something you're comfortable with, do it. If going to the gym is not something that you do it. The more you put yourself outside your comfort zone, the more you will grow. And the difference between average and awesome will be attitude. One final thing I'll leave you with as well, and I think it's important because I see some very, very young, bright people as well. For those of you who are obviously Dubai, Sharjah, UAE based, there are so many opportunities for you to do internships and for you to kind of go places where you can learn from others, learn from their experiences. Try to find a great mentor in life as well. Try to find a great mentor. The mentor doesn't have to be someone who is immensely successful, as long as the mentor helps you become the best version of yourself, not the best version of themselves. I hope you understand the difference, helping you become the best version of yourselves, targeting your strengths, targeting your areas of growth. So a few things I just wanted to summarize, and maybe if there's any questions, I'll take them. Otherwise, I'll have my cup of tea, which I've been waiting for since morning. I wanted to summarize what I've covered with you so far. Number one, remember the difference between skills, behaviors, and attitudes. A skill is something you can upskill. That's important. A behavior is something you can influence, that you showcase. But attitude is the deep down belief often shaped by your environment. So be careful of the environment that you put yourself in. If you see negative people, run. Run, run, run. Find positive people. And by the way, if you cannot find positive people, then Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see. So surround yourself with positive people. We also spoke very importantly about physical fitness. That is the secret sauce, along with spiritual guidance. And we are blessed that we have so much that we can learn from on that front. And of course, don't forget to sleep. Don't forget to sleep. Food is the fuel to the body. Sleep is fuel to the brain. And also very critically and importantly, finding the right mentors in life. Those people who can kind of inspire you and help you become the best version of yourself. Just a short talk. I know keeping your attention for a long time is difficult for your teachers. It's definitely impossible for me. I hope this session was small, short, and engaging for you. I hope it was fun. If there's any questions, we'll take them now. Otherwise, thank you so much. Thank you for listening. I hope it was awesome. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions in the crowd? Any tamizdar question? Tamizdar question. Go ahead, go ahead. How do you find good friends? How do you find them? Is that your question? How do you find? Yeah, great question. By the way, great question. Yeah, great question. Look, well, how do you define great friends, first of all? How do you define great friends? What's a great friend, by the way? What's a great friend? What's a great friend? So I'll tell you, people looking at each other saying, are you my friend? Are you your friend? I think a great friend is someone who is there for you unconditionally. They're not there for you when they need something. They're there for you unconditionally. And by the way, when you find these people, maybe 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, when you find these people who you can trust to pack your parachute, if you know what I mean, you can trust them to pack your parachute. If you find those people, hold on to them, because you will go through a long time in life without finding people like that. So when you find great friends, hold on to them. Hold on to them, otherwise you'll lose them. Any other questions? Any questions? Go ahead, ma'am, shout it out. How do you find? Yeah, very good. Great question. So the question is, how do you find that skill or that thing you're best at? There's a great survey online. I encourage you guys to take it. It's called the Gallup Strength Finder. The Gallup Strength Finder, G-A-L-L-U-P, Strength Finder. It'll take you about 20 minutes or so to fill out. It gives you your top 5 strengths. By the way, you can reach out to Mariam or Pat as well. We've got a program where we teach and coach young talent as well, and that's one of the things we do. One more thing, very important. You know the difference between IQ and EQ? Have you heard of this IQ? So IQ is intelligence quotient. EQ is emotional quotient, right? So we say IQ gets you hired, EQ gets you promoted, right? So what you know gets you the job. How you deal with who you know gets you promoted. By the way, what are some things inside EQ? What are some things inside EQ? What are some things inside emotional intelligence? What are some things inside emotional intelligence? Self-awareness, self-expression, optimism, achievement drive, contentment, stress management, impulse control, all of these things inside emotional intelligence. Take the emotional intelligence quiz as well. So Gallup Strength Finder, emotional intelligence, these are 2 powerful tests you can take to figure out where your strengths are, and then speak to the PAD people. We have got a program where we help parents and children identify their strengths and then leverage those strengths as well. I don't want to overstay my welcome before I get kicked off stage. For those of you who are, go ahead, please. Go ahead. One question, go ahead.
Okay, sir, you just told that we should try to avoid negative attitude. I'm very much into Pakistani news, and we see over there is like negativity because there are three deterrences that should be there. One is fear of Allah, and the other deterrence is fear of law, land law,
Yeah.
and the third one is fear of society.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in Pakistan nowadays we see that deterrence of Allah is almost,
Sure.
and deterrence of land law is almost gone.
Sure.
So how you will suggest the current
Negativity,
generation, the Generation Z, that they can avoid negative attitude? Actually, this negativity is cascading.
Ji, ji.
It is like instilling in ourselves, and sometimes news, they also make us very
course.
depressed. So how you suggest, like,
पहले तो
we
जी
should
मेरे
work?
जिस दिन मेरे अपने बच्चे मेरी बात सुन लेंगे फिर मैं आपको बता सकता नहीं just kidding. Look, one important thing I want to mention, and that's an excellent question. By the way, if you see, if you're surrounded by negativity, you won't even realize, but your language will change, right? So of course, my parents are still in Pakistan. I go back every month, every couple of months. And one of the things, unfortunately, we notice is that over time, people's language has changed, right? So they'll say things like, it can't happen, it won't happen, it'll never happen. Right? So, so people become negative, right? Your language will change also. So by the way, the first red flag, make sure that you are not using what psychiatrists and psychologists call deficit-based language, which is, it can't happen, it won't happen, it'll never happen, it'll never change. Make sure you're not using deficit-based language. That's a red flag. Secondly, by the way, a funny little story to tell you. There's a newspaper in California, it opened up, it said, we're only gonna publish positive news. They were bankrupt in 6 months, because nobody wants to read positive news. People want to read negative news. So by the way, a lot of the news, unfortunately, as we know, some of the region in the Middle East right now, a lot of negative news coming out of this region, a lot of negativity, unfortunately, coming out of Pakistan. But I will tell you something. I think the obituaries, you know what obituaries are when someone passes away? I think the obituaries of Pakistan are being written far too early. I think there is so much greatness in Pakistan. I think, unfortunately, our problem is we take a snapshot in time and make a judgment on that, right? Yes, it hasn't been amazing, but it's not destiny. Just because it's our situation doesn't mean it's destiny as well. This future, this lot right here, these are the future leaders of Pakistan and of whichever country. If there's other people from other countries as well, I don't want to sing. You just make sure that you are not just becoming a great follower, but you're becoming a great leader as well. Just don't become a great follower, become a great leader as well. Avoid negativity like the plague. Run from it. In the news media, unfortunately, most things are negative. And TikTok, negative, and so on. Remember, guys, this is going to have a massive impact on your mindset. You cannot get away from this. If you think that you're going to bombard your mind with negative thoughts and images, and that's not going to have an impact on your personality, of course it is. Of course it is. And by the way, you're only going to be this age once, right? You're only going to be this young once. So use this time and amazing energy that Allah has given you. Become the best version of yourself. Remember what I told you, leaders help other people become leaders. The more you give, the more you get. So make sure that you're giving, and by giving I don't mean money, I mean a smile, advice, coaching, appreciation, recognition, positivity. The more you give, the more you'll get as well. I think I've overstayed my welcome. I'll hang out for a few minutes if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll see you soon. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much.
Please stay. We're going to present you with the shield now. Please stay on stage. So that was truly amazing. Who agrees with me? All right. So I would like to invite Maryam Mumtaz and Daud Khan to present with the shield.
Truly, all of us have learned a lot from this session.